Hello DIYers, how are you today? I'm doing really good because today we are proceeding and going one step ahead and one step further, and we're going to finally make something and use the video that we did last week to actually turn it into a garment you can wear. So if you remember, and if you are subscribed to my channel, if you're not, of course, click that button below. Last week, my third video, or let's say the first in the series, was the video where we did a pattern for an A-line skirt. Today, what I wanted to show you is how to actually make the skirt, or let's say how to use the pattern to make something you can wear. I have here the skirt that is finished. So this little piece, it's actually an A-line skirt that was made from the pattern that we made in the last video. So in this video, what you're going to learn is how to add seams and seam allowances, how to do a faced waistband, because on this one I decided to do it, to do the faced waistband, because it's very handy to know that. For someone who's making pants and skirts, you might consider using a faced waistband sometimes, because it looks really nice and it's very flush with the actual garment. It has the darts, and it has that little bit of a fullness that is quite characteristic for an A-line skirt. Both of the skirts have the invisible zippers. If you're wondering what is this here, so this is just another example of how we can use the pattern that we made last time. So they're both A-line skirt, it's just a different fabric that we used. So this way I want to show you how different fabrics drape a little bit different, and how actually the same pattern looks a little bit different on two different fabrics, because this one is a little bit more drapier, while this one is very stiff. So you can see the darts are here as well as here as well, but this one does not have a faced waistband and this one has. I hope you're going to learn a lot in this video, because the ultimate goal of my channel and why I actually did this, and I'm going to do a video about this as well, is just to show what I've learned in the last couple of years with my sewing tips and tricks that I've just picked up along the way. How do I do things? How do I think it's easier to do something? And so on and back and forth. And you're going to see everything in the videos as we progress from one to another. Do not forget to subscribe, because then you will be updated and you'll be able to kind of stay in tune with the videos that I'll be posting. I hope you're going to enjoy it, and the most important thing, I'm hoping that you're going to learn a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below, leave the comments below, and well, I hope you're going to enjoy it. Thanks guys, see ya. Hi guys, and welcome back. So as you heard in the intro video, we're going to be doing a skirt today, a final garment. This is a piece of fabric that I picked up in, I think it was Hickey's here in Cork. It's a suede fabric. I really like the way it looks, and I've been sewing with suede before, and I really like the way the garments look. I like the way that it has piles, and it looks really nice and kind of luxurious, if you ask me. And today I'm going to show you how to actually use the pattern that we have and make a product pattern. Here I wanted to actually show you what I was thinking about doing. So it's an A-line skirt with a waistband. I wanted to do pockets, but later on throughout the actual process I just decided not to do them. You can use a tracing wheel, or I'm using a Sharpie here just so you can see it better how it looks like, and mark it on. Now that we marked everything, next step, what needs to be done is to add the seam allowances. The seam allowances on the side of the actual garment are going to be 1.5. Now we can make them longer or bigger, it's up to you. This is the standard. Around the waistband it's going to be 1 centimeter, because I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a let's say, room for a mistake in case I do something wrong, because I know myself I tend to do that, so it's better to have them bigger. You can cut them off later on. The hem of the skirt here, I wanted to initially make a hem of 2.5 centimeters, and I wanted to have a faced hem and a completely straight bottom of the skirt. But later on, as I was drafting, I just decided I wanted a normal folded seam. So this is just a way for you to show you what you can do. If you want a straight one, just put as much as you want. The more you put on the hem, the nicer the skirt is going to look like. Now the marking is done, and I'm going to show you how to make a faced hem by using a tracing wheel. Now this is if you decide to have a completely straight hem of the skirt, you can use this method because it's the most accurate one. This is the method that will not work on a curved hem, because you cannot fold them properly, and it just doesn't work. So this is the way you can do it in case you want to have a completely straight hem of the skirt. You're going to do exactly the same thing for the center front. Just bear in mind that mostly it's center front first and then center back. Now when we have everything cut out and we added the seam allowances, everything is made. These are the final patterns. So I decided to fold my center front, but I decided to leave an actual option for you if you want to actually make paneled skirts. So if you want to have a seam down the skirt of the center front, you can use this seam. In this case, I'm not going to use the seam. I'm just going to fold it over and I'm going to cut it on the fold. Next thing you need to do is just pin the fabric, and we're ready to cut it out. Now once everything is cut out, this is the most important step when it comes to, I personally believe that this is the most important step, because this is the step where you're going to mark everything before you actually sew it on together. I use this just so I can minimize the mistakes that I make, because as I told you before, I know myself and I always am so excited when I'm making a garment that I forget to mark something, or I forget how wide of a seam that I put. So I just use this water-soluble pen and I draw in all the darts as well as all the seams around the side of the garment. So when I'm sewing, I know what I have to sew. Once this is done, let's just make clear one thing. Needles are very important and do not forget to change them every time. You can use one needle for 2 or 3 projects. Here I'm going to be using a jeans needle because suede is, this one that I'm using is really thick. Make sure that the thread is, well, as similar as the color of the garment that you have. If it has a lot of patterns and colors, just make sure to select the one that you're going to use for the whole project. And here we have everything. We have the seams, we have the pattern, but there's one thing missing, which I'm going to show you next. A faced waistband is going to be something that we're going to learn how to do in this part of the actual project. You use a tracing wheel and decide how long of a waistband you want. In this case, I think mine was about 5 centimeters. And with a tracing wheel, you're just going to go around and trace the dart and the side of the skirt on the other paper that you have beneath. And then with the Sharpie or a marker or a mechanical pen, which is the best thing to do, you're just going to trace it and you're going to cut it out. When you do the same thing on center back and center front, make sure that the waistband length is the same on both patterns, so you don't end up with the center front being bigger and the center back being smaller. You don't want that to happen. Here I just wanted to show you up front how it looks like. The center back is going to be cut on the fold, and here I use the method of marking everything with a water-soluble pen on the actual fabric. Make sure that you mark the seams and that you might mark around the actual pattern. That's what I do because I know where to sew and where my needle needs to drop in. Also, very important thing that I want to mention here is to make sure that you cut them on the same slant, so you don't end up with 2 pieces that are cut in the different bias, because that's just, it's a nitpicking, but it's going to make a better result. Also, a very important thing to mention is to mark the notches. You can use it with a soluble pen or use it with a tailor tack, and do mark center backs and center fronts. Those pieces are very, very similar, and it's very easy to just swap them, and then you're going to end up with sewing center back at the center front, and it's just going to look odd, and it's just going to be frustrating, especially if you have the fabric that frays a lot and it's difficult to rip it apart. And voila, we have it, it's done. Skirt is here. This is how it looks like. So from 2 very simple patterns and a very simple way of how to make a waistband with the skirt. You can play with the length and make it longer, make it shorter. Well, not shorter than this. This is a proper mini skirt, and I wish I actually added more length. Here is the invisible zipper that I used, and I'm going to show you up close how does the waistband look. You can see here all the darts and everything is being sewed in. I put in the waistband by just sewing it on, of course, on the face of the fabric, and I actually understitched it on the side that is flush to the body, so the waistband folds over nicely. You can see here that the darts are visible as well, and please make sure that your darts are matching as close as they can, because this is the way the nice garment looks like, and of course this is where the measurement of the waistband is going to come in handy. It has to be the same. I finished the garment by just overlocking it on the edge of the waistband as well as the edge of the skirt, and just overlapped it inside. This is a little trick that I want to show you, just to let you know. If you have a very heavy fabric, the waistband is going to want to fold over, and it's going to go up the skirt. You can sew it in, so you can sew together the outer edge of the dart and the inner edge of the dart, and it's going to keep it nice and covered, and it's going to be inside. And that's it. Here's how the skirt looks like. Again, I definitely would have wanted to add a bit more length, but what can you do? Next time. Okay guys, that's it. The video is finished. You've seen how the skirt is actually made and how it looks like. I hope again that you learned a lot, and please do not forget to subscribe and post a comment below. I will take suggestions and comments and everything else you can throw at me because this is all very new for me and I'm trying to make it as best as I can. So maybe just be gentle as well. I don't know. Thank you for being here with me and see you soon. Bye.